Alright guys, today I'm going to be doing a Let's Talk video about contemporary issues within the division, but it's not a build video. It doesn't have a whole bunch of informational value. I'm not going to be talking about specific game mechanics. So if that's not your cup of tea, if you don't want to see a lot of me talking and some background footage, then definitely click away now. But that being said, I do think it's actually very important stuff right now for the division. I think it's a critical topic to be talking about because it's hyper relevant right now for a variety of reasons. Now, I'm not going to be discussing individual gameplay mechanics like the Seeker Mine or, the shotgun flinch or the Deadeye build stuff. I'm not going to be discussing imbalances in the actual gameplay, though a lot of people are unhappy with those. I think that it's indicative of a type of meta where build diversity is at least in some small portion reigning supreme, because there are many different mechanics that people are frustrated with. Right there cues me in that a lot of people are running different things. So that's already miles better than anything we've had previously. So I'm not really going to be discussing any one build. I'm going to be discussing exploitation, cheesing, glitching, that kind of stuff, and primarily this whole, skill object healing in last stand glitching that's going on, where people are generating 300 or more thousand personal score modifiers in any one given last stand match. Now, the reason that I believe that this is just absolutely the worst possible thing that could be happening right now is not in a vacuum just because of that issue and the fact that they're getting more points. That is just the latest in a long chain of exploits and a long chain of things that have broken the game like that. And it really sucks to see, but that's not the main problem. The main problem is the very fact that people are gravitating towards this. I know there's an age-old statement that people are going to always take the path of least resistance. But in this case, the path of least resistance is detrimental to the health of the game and the play experience of everyone. You have players on a last stand team who completely ignore the mode. They don't participate in PvP. They don't cap objectives. They simply sit in the back of a base and heal each other and use other various skills to generate a vanity score. And if that's not bad enough, because you can almost justify that, you can almost say, well, if they really don't have much time and they just want to get to rank 40 in last stand, then it's okay-ish, even though it does mean that their team is at a disadvantage. The enemy team does not have as many players to fight. It oftentimes ends up in these surrendering matches where you have all 3 points, you cap all of them, and you beat the enemy team by something like 10,000. Or you lose by something like 10,000, and it's just detrimental to the health of the game and everyone's play experience. But even then, if they were just using it to get to rank 40, to get that cool new cosmetic item that they've wanted, or to get that new weapon skin, or just maybe to farm up some gear a little bit faster, even though there's no real reason to do that because you can get gear just as fast as you want in pretty much any activity. After level 40, to still be participating in this exploit blows my mind. And that type of player, those players in particular that are doing that, are the reason why this game has struggled and will continue to struggle. And it has nothing to do with individual gameplay mechanic balancing. It really doesn't have anything to do with the developers, though the argument can be made that these types of exploits should never make it into the live game. But then the counter argument, and to always play devil's advocate, is Massive could find 1,000 glitches, but that 1,001st glitch that makes it into the game, there always will be one. First of all, there will always be a glitch or an exploit that makes it into the game. Any game out there, every game out there has glitches and exploits. But this community in general and its ruthless desire to find those glitches, abuse those glitches, and then complain about the game because they abused those glitches is mind-blowing. And this dates all the way back to patch 1.1 when Falcon Lost first came out. You had people that would glitch through walls repeatedly. Not only that, before patch 1.1, they would glitch through walls to farm each other in the Dark Zone for Dark Zone experience or Dark Zone funds or whatever they were doing back then. They would glitch through walls in Falcon Lost to farm the best gear in the game and get it with no resistance and no challenge whatsoever. And these are the same players that are complaining about the game and saying that it's too easy, that it gets old too fast, that there wasn't any end game at launch because everything, they had everything, and yet they were here glitching through walls and sticky bombing the APC for 45 minutes straight to get free items. The same people that were farming Warrengate Power Plant, just pressing one button over and over and over to generate these proficiency caches, and then saying that the game's boring, that they don't see any value in it. The same people that are now throwing their team under the bus, screwing over the enemy team in last stand matches to get a vanity score, oftentimes after they've already reached level 40, so that they can what? Get gear? They don't need to get gear. So that they can what? Have a higher personal score indicator on their screen? What is the value in this? What is the reasoning? Again, like I said, you can possibly justify it up till rank 40, but after that, there is no justification. There is no reason that this would be acceptable. And there is no way that you can get behind that kind of behavior, because it's ruining the game much more so than any small glitch or any small mechanical failing or any one gear set being overpowered. It's really horrible to see. And as someone that really cares about the game and is passionate about the game, it blows my mind that this community is that way. We have this horrible habit as a community and as a player base, all of us playing the Division, I am quite passionate about it. I do loop myself into this because I am guilty of attacking the developers when I shouldn't have. I've done so many, many times. Some issues in the game I do believe are horrible, and I do believe that the developers themselves have made mistakes. They're human. They're like everyone else. They've made mistakes. The fact that grenades actually rotate where they are on the wheel between, spawns and between matches, etc., I think is just a ludicrous decision, and I don't know if it was intentional or if it's a glitch or what, but that kind of thing, I absolutely will agree with a large group of players that say that that is, unacceptable and that's bad. I'm not in any way justifying or defending every single thing that the developers, which is a very loose term oftentimes, and I actually am hesitant to use it now, but the developers as a whole have done. I am not saying that any one studio, whether it be Red Storm or Massive or anyone else for that matter, are perfect. But what I am saying is that we are in the best iteration of the game that we've had thus far. We have the most build diversity. We have the most dynamic PvP through Last Stand that we've ever had. We have all of these different things with legendary difficulty, finally presenting a modicum of challenge to a lot of different players and squads. We have the best incursion that we've had so far. We have a whole new section of Dark Zone. There's so many different things that we have now that we haven't had previously that underline and put an exclamation mark after the fact that this is possibly the best version of the game that we've had to date. And yet, we have players ruining that PvP, that dynamic combat in Last Stand, specifically to gain nothing while screwing over their team and the whole enemy team. And that just brings me right back into this. We pound our fists on the desk or on the table. We pound our fists and we scream and we rave at Massive for not providing us with enough endgame or not delivering what they promised or not producing a game that's up to our standards. And then a lot of us, as soon as there is content that is up to those standards, we seek out the small areas where we can glitch and exploit and break that content. We break it to Kingdom Come, and then we rip into the developers because it's broken, because we went out of our way to break it and to hurt the player base by chasing vanity scores or personal gain. I really don't understand it. A lot of people are going to have negative feedback to this video, and I totally understand that. I understood that before I even made it, before I'm even putting it out there. I know that it's going to happen. Please try and keep it respectful, but I did think that this needed to be voiced. I did think that I had to put this out there and talk about it. And again, I'm not saying that, you out there are the problem and only you. I'm saying that we, as a player base, all of us. But specifically, if I have to be real, I am going to turn the finger towards all of those of you out there who are exploiting the Last Stand mode, who are not participating with your team, creating an environment where players quit the match because they can't win, because they get, steamrolled 15,000 to 2,000 because they're fighting a 2v8 because the rest of you are in your base at already rank 40 using a healing exploit bug to gain whatever you're trying to gain. Yeah, I'm pointing the finger at you. And I'm actually saying that that kind of mentality and not using my platform that I've built over the past months and not using, what voice I have to address this issue would be irresponsible of me. I know this is going to create backlash. I know I'm going to get flack for this. I know that me saying that the players are the problem in a game where a lot of people have been dissatisfied with what the development has been doing is not something that's going to be popular. I'm going to get a lot of comments saying like, oh, that's just what I need, to be told that I'm the problem after spending money and not getting what I said. It's a vicious cycle of the players not being willing to acknowledge their faults and then blaming the development and then simultaneously seeking out any little small flaw in the game to then break the game even further and exploit and then turning it back on the developers. And I get the mentality that there shouldn't be errors, but there always will be errors. And if we find those errors and then rip it wide open, like use the metaphor of a shirt. If you find a little hole in a shirt and then you tear a giant hole in that shirt because you found that little hole and picked at it and picked at it and yanked on it, and then you say, wow, I can't wear this shirt anymore. This sucks. They made a crappy shirt. Why did they sell me a crappy shirt? Well, you ripped a hole in it and you kept ripping holes in it until it was unwearable. So where really does the fault lie? And I think that I'm going to own up to my problems with this. I've definitely put out content that was not healthy for the game. At the time, you know, I did justify it with saying build diversity, and I still stand by that justification. But I understand that, like, it's subjective, and a lot of people are going to disagree with that. And I would like to try and be very careful about what I put out there in the future. I really will try to do that because I care about the overall health of this game. But I think that the current mentality of people exploiting and people breaking things and then blaming that back on the development and just screwing over their fellow teammates and the enemy team and depriving everyone of fun is the #1 problem. And it's fine to do that on the PTS. It's totally fine. If you're on a public test server, that's exactly what I was trying to do. I was trying to do that, and I regret that I didn't find this bug. I regret that I was not able to find this glitch on the PTS. I'm kicking myself right now, because if I had been able to find that, I would have prevented this from happening. But if I had found that, or if any one of us that played on the PTS had found that and made Massive aware of it, or made Redstorm aware of it, there would be another one, and there would be another one after that. And if we all continue to gravitate towards those and use those exploits and rip holes in the content and just pile onto it, we're going to actually kill this game. But not because the game is dead, not because the game deserves to die, not because the mechanics are bad, but because we, the players, have killed a game that was phenomenal and had so much potential. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. It's a complete rant. I totally understand that. Before everybody jumps on the comments and types out a really big paragraph about some keyboard King Arthur, you know, I'm not the problem, you are, you trash YouTuber putting out Seeker Mine builds, and you put out the Sticky Bomb build, all these things. Just remember that I tried to articulate my argument in a respectful way, at least fairly respectful. I didn't really break down into profanity or racial slurs or anything of the like, so let's try and keep it that way in the comments, though it's probably too much to ask. Anyways, that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening. It's a total rant. Again, I understand that, but I appreciate you guys bearing with me till the end here. If you want to support Upper Echelon or, you know, try and get on board with what we're doing here, especially when it comes to this game, check out the links below. And as always, have a nice night.